Welcome to the Portland Fall Classic Race Course Tour. This video outlines what we think is about the best line to run on the Portland Fall Classic 5,000 meter course, and it'll also include specific instructions for the novice start, which is shorter for junior novices. And if you've made it this far up, you've made it to the top of the warm-up area looking back north at downtown Portland. You've made it to the warm-up area and you've been instructed by race officials to proceed to the start line. So at this point, you will be guiding your boat down along these houseboats. And again, we're still several minutes from starting. So you'll be moving down a channel along these houseboats, and you'll need to stay single file, fairly close to the houseboats on the right side. To the left is a large mud flat, and it's a good skeg eating area. So we will have everybody directed down this chute, essentially, about 400 meters in front of this line of houseboats to move toward the start. As we come to the end of the line of the houseboats, you will have been sent through here in bow number order by race officials. And when we get to the end of the houseboats, the channel widens a little bit, and you will be about 200 meters from the start. If you have not had your crew take their last bits of clothing off, this point coming up here is an important place to do that. You may not have very much time, because as boats come through, they will be sent fairly quickly to the line. And while there's always the possibility of a short delay, you can't expect to have a lot of time to be ready here. So your crew should be either ready before they come through the houseboats or available with only a moment's delay when we come out of this area. There will be another race official up here which will send you to the start in 15-second increments, and if you try and move up too quick on the crew in front of you, you'll be asked to stop or slow down before you get to the line. So it's best to keep the gap at 15 seconds as directed by the race officials. This part of the Willamette River is called the Holgate Channel, and we're on the southeast corner of Ross Island. The island is to our left and the mainland's to our right. The start is about 150 meters in front of our current point, and a race official will be gapping you at this point, and you'll be moving speed up to go through two large orange buoys, and one will be set in the center of this channel and one will be set toward the right. There will be a timing boat on the right, and you'll need to yell your number when you cross the line at full speed. So again, from this point, crews will be sent through the line, and you'll want to be to the line at full speed. Now this is the view from the starting line of the Fall Classic, and at this point, viewers of this video should also check out PDF files on our Regatta Central site or at portlandfallclassic.com. And there are two PDF files. One is a course guide with photos taken about every 500 meters. And those photos will have the buoy placement drawn into them. So you can look at it as you're looking at this video, and it'll help you to see where the buoys will be on race day. There is also an overhead map of the race course on a couple of different pages, and that indicates buoy placement as well. So both of those files, if you print those out and have them while you watch this video, it'll help quite a bit. As we go through the line, you can see we've got about an 800-meter straight stretch here, and then there's going to be a left-hand turn. Through the center of this channel, there will be orange buoys, large ones, every few hundred meters, and you're going to need to stay to the right of all of those large orange buoys. They mark the middle of the channel, and this race is run down the right side of this channel, through the turns, etc. You always need to stay to the right of the orange buoys, and missing a buoy will give you a 1-minute penalty. At this point, you can begin to see this turn that you'll be setting up for, and again, there are a line of large orange buoys throughout the turn, several of them, and you'll need to stay to the right of all those buoys. It's not quite a full 90-degree turn, and it's gentle enough to butter most of it. And all the rowers need to row continuously through all the turns anyway, so there's no way to have one side stop or anything like that. All rowers will need to row through the turns, and there'll be referees' launches through this sequence of through all of the course, but especially on these turns to make sure everybody is safely getting around once you get through the turn, you'll be setting up to go just to the left of that boathouse you see off in the distance there, about 300 meters. And you'll be best to move fairly close to that, and then we'll be going through a sweeping right turn. Now we've switched days for filming here because the wind was getting to be too heavy a few days ago. So now on the Fall Classic we're at about the 1,000 meter mark through the first sweeping left turn. And we're setting up for our second turn of these S-turns behind Ross Island, and this is a right-hand turn. Now the best course here is a little bit more over to the right. There's a houseboat on the side, or a boathouse, pardon me. And in setting up for the turn, you can actually go fairly close to the right side, or the right shore here on this right turn. There is a white buoy up there, a channel marker, and that'll be moved. That'll be moved on race day. So again, coxes is a pretty good line here, and you can follow this turn right around. And again, crews are going to have to stay out of the way to the right if they're being passed. Here's the view coming around the corner as downtown moves into focus here. And this is a 1,000 meter straight shot to the Ross Island Bridge. And you'll want to gradually move diagonally to the left across this channel. The orange buoys will mark mid-channel on the left, and you'll be able to gradually move across. One issue here is that there's a mud flat up on the right, and that will be marked with some small green buoys to warn you off that mud flat as you start to move left here diagonally across the channel. Now we've continued to move gradually to the left across this channel as we move down the 1,000 meter stretch to the Ross Island Bridge. When we transition to going under bridges, the buoy system changes from lines of buoys on your left that you need to stay to the right of to arches that you need to select the correct arch for. And there will be two large beach ball buoys marking the outsides of the arches. So when you see two buoys, you go between them. And I'm aimed right now at the arch of the Ross Island Bridge you'll be going under. And again, those will be marking two large 4 to 5 foot diameter beach balls. Now as we look here at the arch that 5,000 meter course rowers will be going through on the Ross Island Bridge, we also come to the point where the novice start comes into play. And the novices will be warming up here along with everybody else. And as we face upriver, that's where the 5,000 meter rowers will be rowing up through to get to the south end of Ross Island. The junior novices in the 3,000 meter course will be queuing up right against Ross Island here on the left. So they'll be doing some warm-up counterclockwise circles and queuing up on the left side of Ross Island. And then they'll be brought through this area where I am right now to their starting line, which is right at the bridge. So they'll row through the buoys that mark the correct arch as their starting line, and they'll do so at the end of each flight after the boats ahead of them that are rowing the 5,000 meter course go. So their warm-up pattern's shorter. They'll warm up just upstream of the bridge here and then start going through this arch. Now a new challenge this year on the Portland Fall Classic course is that they're constructing a new bridge here between the Ross Island and Markham bridges. And this bridge reduces the width of the river in this part of the course. So the river's probably only about 40-50% as wide as it would normally be because of the construction barges and cranes on either side. So all rowers in the novice course and the standard 5K course will need to proceed carefully through this area. There will be a line of orange buoys marking the center, and you'll stay to the right of that, both on the warm-up and on the race course itself. So the orange buoys in the center will mark the center, and you'll need to stay to the right of that. In the construction zone itself, the contractors have some very large metal green buoys on the right side here, and they're very heavy, and they would certainly damage your boat if you hit them. And you'll need to stay to the left of this to stay away from the working area of the barge. When we move up a little closer here, we'll see this green buoy out in front of us, and you're not allowed to cut to the right of that buoy to try and take just a few feet off the race course. You'll have to go around the left side of this buoy the green one here, as you set up for the remaining bridges of the course. Now, coming out of the construction zone, this is about a pretty good line right here underneath the Markham Bridge, which is the next bridge we go through. Again, we'll have two beach ball buoys that mark the spans on either side of the frame here in the video. And I have a pretty good line because I'm really setting up for the bridge after this one, the Hawthorne Bridge, where we have a slight right turn. And to set up for that bridge, as we set up for the Hawthorne Bridge here, we're near the launching area where we launch for the regatta. We're at about the 3,500 meter mark right here, about 1,500 to the end of the 5K course. And there are two spans here you can see in the frame of the video. One is near the shore, and you can't cut through there because there is a large dock that you get entangled with. So it's the second section here that I'm aimed at is the span of the Hawthorne Bridge that you'll be going under. And again, this will be marked with two large beach balls that you'll go between. Beach balls being set in front of the bridge piers for the correct route. Once you clear the Hawthorne Bridge, setting up for the Morrison Bridge gets a little trickier. The Morrison has a couple of small spans on the shore side, but they're narrow and not great for passing, so those are off limits for this regatta. Now, like with all bridges, we can't go through the center span between the lift operator towers, so we'll be going through this span with the diagonal trusses, and this will be marked again with two beach balls. And this will be the span of the Morrison Bridge that we'll go under. Now that we're a little closer to the Morrison Bridge, you are at this point about 1,000 meters from the end of the race, and you can see that going under this span sets us up nicely for the last bridge in the distance, the Burnside Bridge. The Burnside Bridge has three spans. Again, we stay out of the center span, and we take the one to the right of the center. And as we set up for this one, this is about as good a course as you can get. And we will revisit that one when we get a little bit closer to it. Setting up for the final bridge, the Burnside Bridge, you'll notice that we have not drifted too far to the right. If you drift toward the shore side here, you're going to lengthen your course a little bit. Of course, that's plenty of room for those people being passed to move out of the way to the right of the race course. And again, we're staying out of the center draw span of this bridge on the right side. And again, the course I'm taking right now is just about the best one. When you get to this bridge, you're looking at only about 300 meters to go in the race. Last 300 at this bridge. Once you clear the Burnside Bridge, you're setting up for the last 300, and the finish line is along the dock out in front of us. To our right, there's a large floating walkway dock that's right next to the race course, so it's going to get a little louder here between the freeways and spectators along that part of the course. But we're aiming for the end of this dock that you can see the pilings for up in front of us. And on the end of the dock will be the referees in the timing station. So looking at the end of the dock here where the timers will be standing, there'll be two orange buoys. You'll row between them. You'll yell your number as you cross the line, and then you can back down to the paddle. Make sure you take 10 or 15 strokes to get out of the way in case there's people coming in quickly behind you, so you clear out of the way of the finish line. Then you can stop and row across the river to the other side, looking out for boat traffic. There will be a marshalling boat here to guide you to the other side of the seawall. And then you will row up along the seawall, back through downtown until you're across from the dock that we launched from. It's important to move quickly up through here, especially the latter parts of the first and second flight. We need people to get back to the dock quickly so we can keep the regatta moving and keep the next flights launching on time.